Hello everyone, I am Raw Toast and welcome back to another First Impressions in Review. Also, just quickly, very sorry for my severe lack in videos for a long time. It's just, it's who I am as a person. I'm really active on Twitch. Come check me there. Today we are discussing Jotunnslayer Hordes of Hel, which is the newest entry into the ever-growing roguelike horde survivor genre, which is, honestly, I've been having a great time with the genre with games like Death Must Die, Vampire Survivors, and so on. Currently, Jotunnslayer is in early access, but it's a little different with its setting within the Norse mythology, similar to what Hades did with their mythology style, even though it is a slightly different type of game. The game was released on January 22nd, 2025 for $14.50 Australian, which is a fantastic price, with at the time of recording this video 82% positive reviews on Steam, which honestly, that's fantastic. It's 8.2 people out of 10 are saying the game's not bad, so let's have a look. Let's see if the game is good. Jotunnslayer is being developed by the dev team Games Farm, an indie dev studio with roughly or so 50 people based in Slovakia, who have released 20 or so games across PC, console, and is being published by Grindstone, a games publisher who's also based in Slovakia. The story of the game is basically there is a shit ton of monsters messing around, and you would frankly rather they didn't. So with a selection of 4 different heroes, you can unlie them in speedy, brutal fashion, with a 5th champion coming in a future update and a 6th champion upon the 1.0 release. The currently available heroes in the game all have different playstyles, as their class is rather self-explanatory as to what they would kind of do. Each of the classes has unlockable weapons to slightly change the playstyle. For example, the ranger can get a bow that gives him more attack speed and that kind of thing. And there's going to be more in future updates. Plus they have unlockable skin through gameplay, but also another one through the DLC. So the 4 classes are as follows. We got the Berserker, big boy with axes. We have the Ranger, sneaky boy with a bow and wolf summons. We have the Seeress, goth babe with magic. And we have the Flame Sister, goth babe with daggers and flame magic. Each champion also has an activational skill via the Q button. Currently there are 2 maps available in early access, the Frozen Wastes of Niflheim and the Fire Hellscape of Muspelheim. Clearly I'm phenomenal at my pronunciation. With another 3 maps on the way. Each map has several different difficulties and modifiers such as speed up time, make monsters not die like they come back as ghosts and that kind of thing. You can go easy, medium, hard, etc. Except the second map, which does start at the normal difficulty, making a bit more of a difficulty spike compared to the first map, Niflheim, which does start on the easy difficulty. Each map has their own quirks and their own sort of aesthetics. Obviously, given the description, Frozen Wastes of Niflheim, it's a big, massive ice map, which is really quite interesting, really quite cool, and has its own quirk, like the blizzard event that can happen, where you go super slow and a bunch of monsters and everything spawn, similar to with the other map, Muspelheim. But let's just assume that's correct. It's a fiery map, kind of like your standard rendition of Hell, with massive artillery cannons that can spawn, and all the like that. Each map has objectives which pop up every few minutes, which provide a bit more of an interesting experience for the map rather than just hang out for 15 minutes, kill a bunch of bad boys, and be on with your day after you fight the boss. Which is kind of cool because it was a nice change and a nice surprise. Say, oh cool, I need to go light these 3 braziers and I get some gold out of it. That's pretty sick. And each map also has their own boss with the aesthetics of the map. So the second boss of Muspelheim is like a big massive flame boy, and it's super cool, super interesting with his own little boss arena and all that good stuff. Much like the other entries in the genre, when you level up you gain buffs and abilities and boons and stuff to make your character more of a formidable foe against these pesky fellas that keep trying to ruin your day. And all the abilities generally trigger by themselves, or they trigger from specific events such as leveling up, taking damage, that kind of thing. So at the moment, there is 4 gods in the game, all based on the Norse mythology, with several more on the way with future updates, the 1.0 release, and so on and so forth. So first we have Freya, the Queen of the Valkyries, who's also a massive cat lady, which is super duper interesting. We have Loki the Trickster. He's a bit rude, and to be honest, he's, it is what it is, you've all seen the Marvel movies. His upgrades are actually really interesting, because a lot of them come with a downside. It's like, you'll deal X amount of damage extra each time, but there's a 5% chance you'll take 20 damage. That's kind of cool, makes it very interesting, as you can put your own, sort of simplified hard mode in there. Thor, the God of Thunder, thunder skills and big damage. And Odin, the big papa of them all, with buffs and big damage all around. Pretty self-explanatory. You can either get a buff to increase damage, or give you a skill like, lightning storms around the map, or you can get movement speed, all that kind of thing. And additionally to all of the god upgrades and boons and buffs and all this beautiful stuff, each character has their own upgrade trees, which is like extra damage, and then once you hit about level 11, you go into the subclass mode, which will then give you 3 options for each class to change up the playstyle. For example, the Berserker can basically be massive damage or medium damage with a lot of sustain and that kind of thing. So each of the gods and each of the characters' upgrade trees and then the subclass trees make for a bit more of a unique experience whenever you play the game, as opposed to something like Vampire Survivors, where you don't choose an additional class, you're playing that character as is. Jotunnslayer brings a couple of nice things to the table, like a mini-map with objective markers, and has chest locations, your objective markers, like I was saying before, for those quests that you can take, which is quite cool, which I really appreciate, because it's just nice to be able to just see at a quick glance what everything's there, and it's something you don't need to unlock. Once again, like Vampire Survivors, which you had to unlock the map, which was only viewable by the pause menu. And it also has Twitch integration. As someone who streams on Twitch, I think that's super cool and super interesting, and makes it a lot more of a interactive experience with yourself, with your audience, and everyone's having a good time. They can make your day really bad, or they can make your day really good, and like, who doesn't like a bit of that? So the game has a lot of pros and cons. Oh, actually has a lot of pros and only a couple cons, actually. Sorry, I kind of misspoke there. But I think I've been having a pretty good time with it so far, you know? So firstly, I'm going to say the pros. The game has amazing music. The game is really good for music. You get pumped up, you're keen as a bean, like, yes, let's go kill some stuff. You feel almost like the Doomslayer with the type of music they have. It's like your medieval fantasy Norse music. Like, if you ever watch the show Vikings and like the battle scenes, you sort of understand the music that I'm pointing towards. Multiple characters. There's 4 characters to choose from. Each have 3 subclasses they can evolve into, which is just really nice. Gives a good bit of variety. And there's multiple more champions coming down the track. I believe 2 more, which I think is kind of cool. Makes it, a bit more things going on. Good maps. The maps are nice. They're really cool. They're designed well. There's a few bits and bobs of destructible scenery, which who doesn't love a bit of destructible scenery? And they just look clean. They're really good. Minimap. As I said before, the minimap's just nice to have. It's just a nice little feature to have. And I find with a lot of roguelike horde survivors, I typically find myself not having a map or not having a very good map, so it's nice to have a very clean one which shows the outline of the entire map and good location markers. Steam Deck compatibility. It has compatibility with the Steam Deck, which is super nice, so you can play the game on the go if you happen to have a Steam Deck. Really good. And yeah. And on PC as well, the optimization is fantastic. I had 0 problems whatsoever. Not a single frame drop, like not even 1 frame. Reallocate skills at no cost. So like other entries in this genre, you will upgrade like passive skills, like increased damage, increased health, and so on and so forth. You can also do upgrades for each of the god powers, and that's actually how you evolve weapons you get in the game. It has to be a skill unlock. Really good that you can just reset them all. You can just say, actually, I don't want to play this guy anymore. I'm just going to play the ranger now. I'm going to use up all these skill points and slap them into the ranger or one of the gods, for example, because I like a buff they might provide. It might be extra experience or something like that, which I think is really good. And naturally, with this type of game, it gets increasingly more expensive with the more skills that you purchase, which gives you more of a reason to go back and play so you can work towards the overall objective. Solid visuals. The game looks great. As you can see on the screen, it looks really nice. It looks really clean. It's not cluttered. The UI is pretty standard. I have no problems with it whatsoever. Had a great time, and I think it looks really cool. And solid sound design. The skills sound great. Your characters sound great. The monster, like the boss and everything else sounds just good. Really solid sound design. I've had no issues with it. No problems or laggy bits of audio, music doesn't randomly stop or anything like that. So yeah, overall, pretty solid design for that. The cons. If you get stuck in terrain, you gotta end the run. There is, when I was playing it, there was no unstuck button, which is extremely frustrating, and it's just like, okay, cool, I was doing super well, I've got great upgrades, now I just gotta end my run. Alright, awesome. Lack of content currently available. So the game, like I said, the game has 2 maps and 4 characters, which is good for now. It is good for now. It's, like I said, still really good for its price point. But I just want a bit more, I was playing all the maps, I got multiple difficulties unlocked, multiple modifiers unlocked. I'm like, oh, there's only 2 maps. That's a bit of a shame, you know, bit of a drag. But they're good maps, so they are good maps. I was just hoping for a couple of more things going on, you know, that's all. Nothing like a game breaking or anything like that. But to be perfectly honest, I'm having a hard time finding cons to say about the game. It's just a solid experience. Now, given the game is an early access, I want to do a little bit of an extra category, which is suggestions. So, the objective markers in objectives, when you see them, it's like a big blue circle, you stand in it, circle fills up. I think it'd be really quite cool and really aesthetically pleasing if instead of just rando blue circles, it would be just like a rune on the ground. And then when you stand on that rune, the circle slowly fills up of images of runes, and then when like you fill up the circle, it like flashes red or something. I think that'd be just really, really nice. I think it'd be so cool just to have, you know, the Norse mythology aspect in every aspect of the game, not just music and character driven and enemy driven, you know what I mean? More characters. I am aware there's 2 more characters currently on the way, but I would just like a slightly bigger roster. That's just my personal suggestion. I would like a bit more of a roster going on. Like with Vampire Survivors, there's quite a few characters in there. I'm not saying they need 20 characters or anything like that, but I just wanted a few extras, or at least for now, just, you know, more fun. Make dodges iframes rather than skill unlock based. So, for those who don't know what iframes means, it means invulnerability frames, so you can't be hit. Like when you play Dark Souls or Elden Ring or something like that, when you dodge, there is a small amount of time in there that you can't be damaged, and I think that's super cool. There is dodges in this game, however, you don't have the iframes, you can still be damaged to them unless you unlock the skill where you don't. I just think it should be, just give me the iframes, don't make it an additional skill, because then I've got to sacrifice other things for that. You know, I just think it'd be super nice, just to, you know, for it to be standard. Now this one's a bit more specific in terms of the overall design of skills. So as I was saying before, when you get weapons, you can evolve them through the skill tree, and then when you unlock that in the map, you level up X amount of times, it evolves. Cool, it's a better version. I don't think that should be a skill unlock, I just think that should be a weapon level up unlock. Like when you upgrade it 5 times, cool, you've got the better version of it. Because that way I think then you can spend your quite valuable skill points into other things, such as some of the god boons, or just your overall damage or something like that. I just think it'd be a bit more of a better experience if it was in the game itself rather than the skills panel. Now that's pretty much all I have to say about Jotunnslayer Hordes of Hel. Honestly, I think it's a really, really good game. I've been having an absolute whale of a time with it. My personal favourite, I think, is the Ranger, because I always really, really enjoy more ranged attackers. However, the big boy with the axe as the Berserker is extremely good, and might I suggest get the Sustain subclass, because you're borderline unkillable at that point. I wasn't the biggest fan of the magic users, but I'm never typically a fan of magic users in a lot of games. I like a more martial combat rather than magical combat, but that's just a personal preference. I can see a lot of people really enjoying those classes, because they are quite cool and I think well designed. So all in all, friends, I think this game is absolutely worth a buy. For its price point of $14.50 Australian, that is an exceptional price for a game that you could get as much time as you want in it, especially if you like this genre. And given the fact that we're in a time right now where a lot of games are costing $120 for a standard edition. Like I recently purchased and played the new Indiana Jones game, which was a great game, had a really good time, but it was $120 just to buy the game, and I think that's just massive. And the new game coming out from Obsidian, Avowed, which is coming out, I think, in 8 days from recording of this, is also $120 to get the standard edition. I think it's an exuberant price, and I might actually make a video about me just rambling about games. But nonetheless, I think it's a solid game, and it's absolutely worth a purchase, especially if you like this type of game, which is roguelikes and horde survivors and things like that, and if you like a bit of Norse mythology sprinkled in with a little slap of it on top. But anyway, my friends, I think this is where we're going to end the video here. I had a lovely chat with you beautiful sausages about this game, and I hope you check out the game sometime. You know, it's on Steam, and it's ready to go right now with a solid roadmap already in place by the devs. So guys, thank you all so very much for watching. Have an absolute lovely day, lovely night, and hopefully I'll see you all really, really soon, okay?